What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we have a green day over here in the cryptocurrency market. We'll take a peek over here at the Bitcoin price chart, try to see if we're still working our way up with higher highs and higher lows, or if there's still a bunch of caution that needs to be in there right now. Sure, a lot of people in here notice that XRP is up 12% right now. We'll take a peek over there at XRP's price chart, along with Ethereum, which just took out the high from on June 21st. In question, well, was that good enough for the altcoin market over here, as it's now hit its 200-week moving average with precision? Now, this video is brought to you by Linqto, Private Investing Made Simple, which gives accredited investors the opportunity to invest in a plethora of different companies, including many that are here in the cryptocurrency market, such as Ripple, Uphold, BitPay, Dapper Labs, even Linqto in here. And running today through 11:59 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 2:59 p.m. Eastern Time, they've lowered the minimum investment for their two hottest investments on their platform, which is Ripple and Linqto, to just $5,000 for accredited investors. And if you invest in both, they'll give you $1,000 in XRP dropped into your Uphold wallet. In addition, for those who are not accredited investors, but you might still be able to take advantage of Linqto, do you own any stock options at a private company? If you don't know when they're going public, but you want to get your money right now and sell your equity in that company, Linqto will buy your shares. Just go up here and hit sell at the top of Linqto's website. See if your company is listed in here, and you can see if they'll buy your shares off of you. Otherwise, for those who've been considering getting into the private equity game, into the investment game of prior to companies going IPO, Linqto is your one-stop shop for that. Come over here, click accredited, see if you qualify. There's a link in the description of each of my videos to Linqto, where you can take advantage of their promotion they have for Linqto and Ripple shares with the reduced minimum investments today. Heading back to the charts, I took the day off yesterday from making a video and spent the entire day watching YouTube videos, watching the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell testify in front of Congress for the last 2 days. I read newsletters, I was on Twitter, charting all day long. I had made videos 12 out of 13 days, and it was a day for me to finally kind of like step back, just review all the charts, just review the big scenario of what's going on out there in the world, and see if I can discover any new things going on here in the cryptocurrency market. And when we just take a big broader perspective look at like the altcoin market here, what has happened at this point, we can see that the altcoin market has pulled back to the all-time high, and then precision touched the 200-week moving average. If we look at the total market cap of crypto, so not just the altcoin market, but if we include Bitcoin's market cap in that as well, and this is all of cryptocurrency combined, we can see that the weekly candle did wick below the 200-week moving average. Unlike the altcoin market, which actually pinpoint precision nailed the 200-week moving average, however, wicked below the all-time high. It was kind of the reverse here for the total market cap of all of crypto, in that it actually wicked below the 200-week moving average, but pinpoint precision nailed the previous all-time high. Thought it was kind of interesting to see that, because when we look at total 3, the remainder of the altcoin market, not looking at Bitcoin, not looking at Ethereum, not quite getting down to the 200-week moving average, but still right down here at the all-time high. So can we draw anything from that in particular, and whether or not it like wicked itself below the all-time high or it wicked below the 200-week moving average? I don't know, but the reality is that's where we're at, right? We're on top of the 200-week moving average and on top of the all-time high. Is it possible that the bottom could come in here for the altcoin market and the whole cryptocurrency market as a whole? It's an interesting location for sure. From a big macro, big time perspective, I would consider that to be probably pretty relevant, that we're at the 200-week moving average and that we're at the all-time high. Both those things theoretically should be pretty big supports, especially for them coming in at the exact same location. And it's interesting to see that we can kind of look at each individual asset and everything kind of has its own reaction to whether the all-time high mattered or whether the 200-week moving average mattered or not, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of the altcoins, altcoin market, cap. But the whole market, the entire cryptocurrency market, pinpoint precision nailed the previous all-time high. I thought that was pretty interesting, especially since we're kind of starting to see the emergence of a potential like reversal structure come in here on some of these assets. So the jury is still out on whether or not, if we see a recovery, where is that going to head to? Is it going to head to Bitcoin? Or like we've been studying over here with the Bitcoin plus the Ethereum dominance, that it actually would end up being the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance going down, and it's the remainder of the altcoin market that outperforms. That is how I have my bets placed in this market. We'll see if that ends up being right or not. But for Bitcoin, as we're now going to be heading into the weekend here. The reclaiming level for Bitcoin's 200-week moving average sits there at 22,427. Going through the last several years, you can see there was one time where it did close right there below the 200-week moving average during the C19 sell-off, but it did reclaim it the next week. So for long-term Bitcoin bulls and for those who consider the 200-week moving average to be pretty relevant and pretty important, we can even look at the capitulation that took place back in 2014 and 2015 that, that next week it was able to, get itself quite a bit of ways from that 200-week moving average after the capitulation happened. So you can see it was kind of meandering around it down in here, but, for that thing to have any relevance here on the Bitcoin price chart, one would probably have to assume it's got 2 days left to go ahead and reclaim that. There has been one recent time period where it did close below it just barely, but it did reclaim it the next week. So we'll see if Bitcoin can do that in the next 2 days. On the smaller time frame, I've been spending a lot of time, of course, and sharing this on the YouTube channel that I've been watching what previous V-bottom reversals for Bitcoin looked like at the end of a capitulation phase from back in 2017. And I said, while we're still ranging in here, I'm just going to take a day off to see if we can do it, or else I'm just repeating myself over and over again. But the big thing over the weekend is going to be, which way is this thing going to break? Is it going to break to the north side, or is it going to break to the downside? Even just looking at it on kind of these smaller time frames right in here, we could see, hey, it's in retracement levels. So it technically could still just revert on itself and head on down. Fortunately, we've seen a move happen over here on XRP that might be giving a little bit of signal that it is going to break to the upside, along with Ethereum doing it as well. So Ethereum took out that high over there as well. So these are both good signs. However, even for Ethereum, I was leaning towards that not happening, considering it did set a new low in here, but new high is in place. We're still just chugging along. But as Bitcoin's still in these retracements right in here, I still wonder on it, do we have the juice to keep going? It's underneath that 200-week moving average. And with how precise all of this has been, and then falling down and hanging at the same levels, here we are working out this area once again on if we're just kind of hanging out in a spot like this. And I don't, for me personally, I don't see enough evidence in there to say that it's not doing that right now. So caution is still on for me here for Bitcoin until it can kind of really start getting further away. But it's definitely of significant interest to me to see how this has happened and how this ending phase has come in here for Bitcoin, when we've seen that before. And we see that happening over there in Ethereum, and we see Ethereum has already taken out the upside over here. So optimistic to see that over here in Ethereum. Not so much yet over here on Bitcoin. So cautions still go on through the weekend for Bitcoin until something more substantial shows up. But the thing that probably has the attention of most people who watch this YouTube channel is that XRP is up a little bit over 11% today. So that's quite interesting, right? We go back and we look at what was that trend line looking like back in there for XRP back in here. Has it reclaimed that again? Sure enough, it has. Does that really matter? Is it more so like, hey, those wicks didn't really matter in there, and it's more like that? It could be. So some of the things I've been kind of watching that we've been going through this 1.5 month long process in here is that it's been more like a kind of like there's just like, 3 different levels in which we've been working in here to formulate some type of bottom coming in here. And if you remember, we were looking at Ethereum a couple of weeks ago to show what it looked like at its ending capitulation phase, that there was really 3 type of levels that ended up happening in here before really it just fired its way back up to kind of hang out back up in here. And so that's what I've really been watching a lot throughout the altcoin market to see if we're going to end up getting something like that, to where we can at least come back up into these price levels and just kind of hang out in here for some type of reversal. And that's where I would start to question more so that, hey, we might actually be seeing a reversal, seeing how the reactions take place in here. If we can work our way up quickly and then, probably still spend a couple of weeks levitating in that area. Of course, SHIB is like the last coin I want to point to for something like that occurring in here, where it has the 3 levels and then works its way back up as a reversal. But it's been hovering in here. Same thing goes for basic attention token over here, which is now taken out all of May. So there's a couple of them doing it. Not enough, really. I'd really want to see the total altcoin market cap do that, which, hey, it might be on its way right now. I really would like to see prices get up into these areas right here before I start getting too excited of being like, hey, this is looking really good. But altcoin market has taken out the high from back there on June 21st. It's taken out the high from back there on June 16th, and it's in its trajectory to the upside. That's a good sign, along with XRP working its way up too. So we just need, for me personally, I want to see some follow through get through there. I would like to not see that it's like that trend line coming in through here, right? With some type of backtest, even though we know that if you're going to just take those wicks and be completely precise like that, it actually came in like way down in here, which we can't see down in here. So I'm excited, but like the rest of you, right? It's 37 cents. Let's get back to $1. Then we can start getting a little bit excited, I guess. But first steps for me for like reversal structures is going to be like let's get back up in here. Let's get back up to 42 cents and see if we can just kind of stay there for a while. As for Ethereum, and if it's a reversal structure like we've seen happen in here before, if Ethereum is able to take out these levels over here, getting above, let's just say $1,300 throughout the weekend, it's looking pretty good for Ethereum, I would think, in regards to being in an actual reversal. But, any crazy action coming in here that just it takes out the lows and we just start setting the lows, it just doesn't create anything that I would see that would give me hope that Ethereum isn't just going to go kerplunk one more time. We could see what that reversal looks like. You start getting real wobbly over here. It wouldn't be looking too optimistic for any structures that I can think of that would be a reversal. But so far, still looking okay. We'll see if 1,300 cracks throughout the weekend to give it even more juice. And I do get it, with these types of statements right in here. After I say them, I'm kind of like, all that's saying is if it's going to go up, then it's going to go up. And if it's going to go down, it's going to go down. But the big question is whether or not we're in actual reversal. Are we creating structures that look like actual reversal? Or are we creating structures that make themselves rolling over to go on to set new lows, right? As long as we keep kind of creating higher highs and higher lows that are waddling in the upward direction, then we're making structures looking like they can keep going. But if we start setting newer lows, well, then we lose all of that. And we start looking more like what we've been talking about with this thing, right? So that's kind of the big puzzle being solved right now. And we could just look at that fractal for Bitcoin and say, hey, it's been following it for so freaking long that it's just going to keep doing it at this point. But are there any things out there in the market that are pointing to, hey, look, it's not silly to be looking for this, even though we've made this type of structure heading down. We're bouncing up with higher highs and higher lows. Is it silly to be looking for it to be happening? And I don't think so, because of the fact that we have these things happening here, that Bitcoin, or the altcoin market, is back at the all-time high and hit the 200-week moving average as it got there after 11 consecutive weeks. The only time we've ever had 11 consecutive weeks in one direction was back in here, and it was a reversal. We've got our all-time high. We've got our 200-week moving average. We've got 11 weeks, the most ever in history. It seems like it could be plausible. You also have the most oversold relative strength in history as you get to the all-time high, as you get to the 200-week moving average. So never seen that type of oversold before ever in the altcoin market. So a lot of things going on in the cryptocurrency market throughout the weekend that I'll be keeping my eyes on, including whether or not Bitcoin's going to reclaim that 200-week moving average, which sits there at 22,427 today. That'll change by a couple of dollars throughout the next couple of days. But either way, 22,500 to reclaim the 200-week moving average. Will Bitcoin get any type of follow through, or just keep meandering in here? While on the smaller time frames, looking like what reversals can look like coming in here, we'll see if there can be follow through to get out of here, like Ethereum might potentially be doing, and XRP. But can we get the rest of the altcoin market to follow along and work its way back up in here to around 450 billion? Or is Bitcoin going to rain on the parade? Still a lot of unanswered questions in here. But when I zoom out from looking at the very smaller time frame stuff and just look at the much bigger picture of here and looking at the altcoin market cap, seeing that we've hit the 200-week moving average, and seeing that the total market cap of all of crypto, including the market cap of Bitcoin, pinpoint precise, nailed the previous all-time high while still holding that 200-week moving average. And we've got green. We might get a green candle this week. Hey, I'll take a week of optimism any day, because it's definitely been a rough ride getting through this moment right here. But you know what? We'll take it one day at a time, and we'll make our way through it. Obviously, we still have some overhangs out there, and whether or not there's going to be any additional contagion that happens in this market, along with USDT still not being completely pegged back to $1. We could see on Coinbase some interesting action happening in here yesterday, with it getting above $1 during several hours. Put on a little small time frame, you see all those wicks that took it there above $1 for Coinbase for USDT. And we could see over here on Binance US right now, here in this last hour right now, USDT working its way back up the closest it's been since May 11th. And of course, whether or not macro conditions will overhang above it. Will the macro conditions take charge over what's happened over here on the charts as economic conditions continue to deteriorate and the Federal Reserve committing to continuing to raise interest rates? And whether or not will the Federal Reserve overdo it, considering they use lagging information, or will they have to reverse course before then? The biggest challenge with the Fed, with all of this, and I think everybody agrees, is just the credibility. And that's the thing always. Does the Fed have credibility? Does it not? We know it can reverse course really quickly, and we also know that it cannot. When inflation was being called transitory, and they said that for a year, even though it was obvious it wasn't. Will they overdo it, sending us into a recession, or will they not? Will that beat out anything that we have happening over here, regardless of supports. That's the overhang with the contagion and whether or not USDT matters. Otherwise, I'll take what I see on the charts. Pretty amazing. We get max fear, we get max contagion worries, we get USDT worries, we get macro worries, we get stock market worries, we get DXY worries and treasury worries, treasury bonds. And in the end, the altcoin market pinpoint precisely nailed the 200-week moving average. So we'll see if there's anything to this. We'll watch it throughout the weekend, whether or not Bitcoin can get the follow through in here. Just like we've seen the potential for Ethereum starting. Otherwise, for those who care about XRP, which I care tremendously about XRP as the biggest bag of my cryptocurrency portfolio, the thing that I'm looking for optimism for XRP is to at least work our way back up in here to around 42, 43 cents and then be able to stay there. That's what would give me optimism for another leg higher. But right here, without more follow through, it could just be a throwback. So let's get some more. So, hello, green weekly candle. Let's keep it going. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this week. I hope that you all are doing well out there. I want to thank you so much for watching. Again, this video is brought to you by Linqto, where the minimum investment has been reduced for Ripple and for Linqto today. If you buy both of them, you get $1,000 back in XRP. That's good till 11:59 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2:59 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check them out by visiting the link in the description of this video. Also, if you have your own shares that you want to sell to Linqto, you can do that over here on their website. Otherwise, I want to wish you all a great weekend. Happy summer for those of us here in the United States. I do realize there's viewers from all over the world. It could be the winter where you're living. I don't know. But here it's hot. It's the summer. It's official. Otherwise, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.